October, the cinephile's favorite month. A whole 30 days to explore the world of the cinematic macabre, with gore, ghouls, and horrible performances as far as the eye can see. I love horror, especially when it actually scares me. But I found that very few films achieve this feat, so I got to thinking, what makes a good horror film, one that sticks with you, glues your eyes to the screen, keeps you thinking past the credits? The shock is the ultimate staple of the genre. Point the camera at something disturbed, and let the audience squirm in their seats. I think the value of the shock is becoming less recognized in contemporary film spaces. And look, I get it. Genre classics like Jaws or Alien have certainly proved that hiding the horror is an effective technique. But sometimes showing the horror is just as scary. Observe the work of master exploitationist Hershel Gordon Lewis, who made a series of delightful gore films in the 50s and 60s. His films are direct, trashy, cheap. They exist simply as vehicles to propel the gore within them. Some might write this off as provocative nonsense, but I find a real sense of artistry in Lewis's simplicity. Sure, Hitchcock can shock an audience with 78 perfect camera setups and 52 masterful cuts, but Herschel Gordon Lewis could elicit the same reaction with a single shot and some red paint. Of course, shock was and still is constantly evolving as audiences become more and more desensitized to the horrors of the silver screen. Take the 70s work of horror masters Wes Craven and Sam Raimi. The violence in these films is excessive to the point of fantasy, pushing audiences far past whatever line previously existed. That said, excess can only be scary to a point. I find you push it too far and it becomes comical. The real horror, the true shock, comes from realism. There's a scene in Hitchcock's Psycho, no, not that scene, but the one following directly after it, where Norman Bates slowly and tactfully cleans the scene of a murder. This is the real horror. This slow, procedural sequence grounds the cinematic terror that came before it, pulling it off the silver screen and into reality. You take this idea to its logical extreme and you get something like Gerard Cargill's Angst, an uncompromising film that follows, in almost real time, a serial killer's violent attack on a small German family. This is a film of staunch realism. Its cold, detached camera watches each and every clumsy action of the psychotic protagonist. Like the world's most sickening documentary, where violence is gruesome but not sensationalized. It's a tough watch, and is really going to elicit strong emotional reactions, but I see that response as nothing but proof of the film's cinematic strength. Is it tasteful? Who knows? That's an entirely different conversation. But is it effective? Most definitely.
This is our Colorado lounge.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Stepping away from pure shock value, we enter the more artistic realms of horror. And I found that a filmmaker's use of space and texture can be very effective in creating a good scare. Consult the master, Kubrick, he knew this. In The Shining, we see a reoccurring motif of visual space. Extreme wide shots, long hallways, and close-ups with deep backgrounds.
Hi, Lloyd. A little slow tonight, isn't it?
These visuals isolate the characters and add an uncanny element to the spaces they inhabit. In traditional film, characters are blocked very neatly within the frame, so when Kubrick deliberately breaks this cinematic language, it sets us on edge, which makes the eventual scares all the more effective. Kiyoshi Kurosawa is the real master of this. His spatial compositions in Cure might as well be haunted. Vacous, cold, and instinctively uninviting, it slowly and quietly swallows you into the headspace of his maddening protagonist. Sound. Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of my favorite horror movies, and I attribute a great deal of my appreciation of it to the film's incredible sound design. It's unrelenting. The apocalyptic hopelessness of the film perfectly illustrated by an onslaught of screams and industrial noises. The screen tells the story of teens pursued by a monstrous family, but the sound tells the story of the American slaughterhouse. Sound and music can convey horror as well as any image, can convey the inevitability of a shark, the shock and intensity of a murder, or the beating hearts of paranoid men. But that's enough of that. What really matters is what the film's about. Good horror resonates. It connects to us and our culture, capitalizing on the anxieties that haunt our real lives. Domestic abuse, unethical consumerism, greedy politicians, sexual repression, bodily autonomy, and the unknowability of the human psyche. If you can make the audience scared about the world outside the theater, then you can make a great horror movie. I've been Eggnog, and I hope you all have a haunted Halloween.